Hello, friend.
Batman animated series, Batman Caped Crusader. What's that old saying? You come for the king, you better not miss. Yeah, we're going to figure that in today. From the Vault 319 recording room, this is the Twee'quel Podcast. What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Alexander, the voice in the void, the lone wolf, your favorite host with a lisp. Happy day to you, and I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of the Twee'quel Podcast. It is a good day. I feel good. I hope you are doing well. It's the weekend, and we got a very good show today. We're going to be talking about Batman, Batman Caped Crusader. It is a really good show, but how good is it, and how does it compare to Batman, the animated series, the original, the OG, the king to me, in my opinion, of everything they've done DC animated-wise. But we're going to talk about that later on in the show. And besides that, that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna do that, then we're gonna do the last call, and we'll get out of here because I want you to enjoy your weekend just like I'm getting ready to go enjoy mine. I'm gonna hang out all day and just do nothing. Right? But besides that, before we get into anything with Batman, let's talk about the news. So we start the news today, sadly, by saying rest in peace to Connie Cheung. Now, the name itself may not be very familiar to you, but the face most definitely will. She was seen in two of the Black Panther movies, the original and Wakanda Forever. She played the elder from the mining tribe, but she's also appeared in a lot of other films. Most recently, 2020, I think it was, she was in the Beyonce-led film Black is King, where she played the prince's mother, which was inspired by Sarabi, because that film itself is supposed to be a visual companion to the live-action Lion King movie. But she's a veteran South African actress, been in a lot of other movies. It's kind of sad to see her go. A lot of our elders are going as we get older and older. Connie Cheung was 72 years old. Video game strike is still underway, as voice actors are still very much striking against the video game industry because they want their protections against AI, just like the actors for the WGA and SAG-AFTRA did last year. Right now it's at day 14. Negotiations are ongoing. Game studios have agreed in primary to give the protections to voice actors, but not to motion capture actors. SAG-AFTRA reps have said that they are not going to budge from that point. So until they decide to not only give the protections for voice actors and for motion capture actors and actresses, they will not go back to work anytime soon. So anytime there will be any more news from the strike, I will let you know. At the box office, #1 film, obviously Deadpool Wolverine, but that number that they've hit already coming into this episode, that last report, $903 million worldwide. They're going to cross over $1 billion. I would say by the time this next week is over. #2 over the past week, Twisters is now at 284 million worldwide. Pretty good for a remake of an older film. And #3 is Trap. Opening weekend was just this past weekend. They are 25 million worldwide and growing. We will talk about Trap next week, along with Borderlands, which opens today. I can't wait to see Borderlands. I expect it to be just a bunch of really silly fun. It's being directed by Eli Roth. He's mostly known for horror films, so I don't know how this one's going to turn out. The cast itself is huge. You got Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kate Blanchett, Jack Black, Gina Gershon returns, Ariana Greenblatt. This is a huge cast. So like I said, I'm just expecting this movie to be just a bunch of stupid, silly fun. I expect it to be somewhat like the video game. Let's cross our fingers, because video game adaptations really don't go over well. And like I said, next week we will be talking about Trap and Borderlands, so I can't wait to that. Now, I'm really not smiling because this next story happened, but I am sort of kind of smiling. So Warner Brothers Discovery has announced that they've lost nearly $10 billion over the past quarter. Now, David Zaslav, who is the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, he said that the losses are totaling in an exact amount, just about $9.11 billion to be exact. He says it's from the overvaluation of their TV arm after the merger, and from other things. They're losing money because of no revenue coming in, or a lot less revenue coming in for advertising, as people move away from advertising on cable and television and doing it over streaming. So it's part of the reason that they lost it. To me, this is not about them losing money for advertising dollars, especially as people are cutting the cord and going more to streaming. To me, this is karma for shelving Batgirl and Coyote versus Acme, amongst other movies. And this is karma for them firing Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, and especially Henry Cavill when they decided to redo everything with DC and turn it into DC Studios. That's just me. I know I should be happy about it because I don't want to. Because when companies like that start losing money, obviously it's the lower guys and gals on the bottom who wind up losing their jobs. But this is basically what every studio is going to have to deal with going forward. As people move away from cable and move towards streaming, they're going to lose advertising dollars, and that's probably why all of these legacy cable channels have their own streaming service. I honestly, I can expect further losses, not just for them, but for pretty much all of these legacy cable channels and for the streaming sites, especially like Netflix, because they're the largest in the world. They can only take in so much money before they actually start to lose it. And speaking of Netflix, a major animation leak or major anime leak, whichever one you want to call it, has happened over the past week. The story was first reported by Anime News Network, so thanks to them for getting the word out there. Several major upcoming anime, film and series have had episodes and films, they've been leaked all over the internet. This is considered the biggest anime leak in history. So what does that have to do with Netflix? Well, you're talking about all of the things that Netflix were going to have released between the end of September and October, right? A lot of these things were on Netflix, and almost all of them were on Netflix within these leaks. You're talking about Ranma 1/2, which is a Mappa remake, 4 episodes from that. Dawn to Dawn, 6 episodes from that. Terminator Zero, which is a Netflix exclusive, all of the episodes got leaked. Mononoke, Phantom in the Rain, the full movie got leaked. ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, 3 episodes of that. Spellbound from Skydance, after that major acquisition just a month ago. Pretty much that entire film got leaked. Arcane Season 2, again, Netflix exclusive. The entire season of that Season 2 got leaked. To believe that Netflix was allowed so many of their properties to be leaked, Netflix needs to do something and tighten up their security. You can expect more leaks like this to happen as time goes on, because as streaming sites raise their prices and when we move toward being paying the same price for streaming sites as we do for cable, you can expect piracy to go up, which that's all this really is. And as piracy goes up, more leaks will happen. You just expect it to go to happen, and whatever happens with this story, I'll let you know. And if you do find some of these episodes and these films online, don't share them. Keep them to yourself. I'm not going to tell you not to go look for them. You can do it on your own. You can make up your own mind, but don't share them online. Don't ruin it for everybody else who wants to see them. And from what I hear, a lot of these things are in very low quality, so I wouldn't even want to go look for them if I was you anyway. But like I said, whatever happens with this story, as more develops, I'll let you know. Now that San Diego Comic-Con has come and gone, the next big event is D23, and that actually starts today. Actually, it started last night. So D23 is going to have a lot of things for Disney and Marvel and Star Wars, Pixar, and so many other IP generating people. They're going to have a lot of trailers and stories and films that are going to be announced. I can't wait. I expect to see a Daredevil trailer. There are so many things from Pixar that I am wondering if we're going to get trailers or any updates for, because they've been talking about an Incredibles 3 for about 6 months now, and I want to know if they made any progress on that specifically. I can't wait to see if they actually come up with that. Next week, along with the 2 reviews, we are going to recap everything with D23, and I'll give you my thoughts on everything that they announced over this weekend. If you enjoyed House of the Dragon Season 2, and I did and I didn't, but we'll talk about that at another time, well, you're going to get more of it to come. So outside of just announcing Season 3, right before Season 2 ended, they've also announced that the last season for House of the Dragon will be Season 4. So they've greenlit already the last 2 seasons, 3 and 4. The showrunner says Season 4 will be the last. It's kind of funny that they said that they're going to do Season 3 and Season 4 will be the last, because the author of the book for this, he said that in order to do it correctly, you're going to need at least 4 seasons, maybe even 5, to tell the story correctly. So I guess he's going to get it his way. Season 2 wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I still enjoyed it. Maybe we'll break it down at some other time. Stick around and make sure you're following the channel, because whenever we do talk about that, I am going to get deep into it, because season 2, like I said, wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I expected to see more action, and we didn't. We got a lot more exposition, which is fine with me, but I was expecting more dragon action, not the little bit we got. But going where the story is going, I think I know where they're going with this. So I think season 3 will be a hell of a lot better, but make sure you're following the channel so when we are talking about it, you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you're near a calendar, grab a marker and circle August 28th, because 2 things are happening that day, and I am going to have way too much fun that day just by myself. Number 1, coming August 28th, Aliens versus Avengers. Yes, literally, Aliens versus Avengers, Aliens being the movie property, the Xenomorphs. Yes, Marvel owns the right to them for comic books, and now they're going up against the Avengers. I don't know how that's going to turn out. It sounds ridiculous, but anytime you can get a Xenomorph versus, say, Hulk, I can't wait for that to go down. Also happening that day, the Batman, the one starring Robert Pattinson, will return to theaters, and I can't wait for that to happen, because I will be going to see that again. Like I said in our review of that right after it came out, I saw it twice then. I'm going to go see it again. That movie was almost perfect. 9 out of 10. I said it then, I'll say it now. Robert Pattinson was excellent in that movie. That movie was almost perfect. If you haven't seen it, now's your time to go see it on the big screen, and believe me, it is not a movie you want to see sitting at home streaming. It is a movie specifically made for the big screen. It is that good. But yeah, August 28th, Aliens versus Avengers and the Batman returns to theaters. Can't wait for that day. If you are a fan of Voltron, this may be good news, but then again, it may be bad news, but so you decide. So there has been talk since 2022-ish of doing a live action Voltron movie. Well, it's no longer talk. It looks like after the idea had been shopped around to different studios, it is now said to have found a production home with Amazon of all places. Now, don't forget, Amazon bought MGM Studios to produce content for them a couple of years ago. So that is going to be where this production of a film will be going into production. It says that they are eager to begin production, and they will start doing casting very soon. So the 2018 Netflix animated update, I can't even say it's a remake, but the update to Voltron, that was actually really good. So it's not like you have to go all the way back to the original to find something Voltron that was really good. That remake was excellent in my opinion, and not enough people saw it, but it was hailed as a very good series. So if you haven't watched it, watch an animated Voltron from 2018. You'll like it. But what are your thoughts on them doing a live action version of Voltron? Cartoons and anime getting redone as live action really don't really get enough what's the word I'm looking for? They don't get enough love, right? They don't really get taken seriously when they get turned into live action. So however this turns out, I want to see it, because I am a Voltron slappy. I love Voltron as long as I've watched it since I was a kid. So whatever happens with it, I'll let you know, and you let me know in the comments with this video, how do you feel about them doing a live action Voltron? So we will end today's news on a kind of on a sad note, as we say goodbye to Cartoon Network. Not the actual channel, but we say goodbye to the website itself. Now, just a week after it was announced that Warner Brothers Discovery was shutting down Boomerang, now they're shutting down the website for Cartoon Network. Now, the Cartoon Network website has been home to a ton of old episodes for older shows that are really not on TV or anywhere else. You can get like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Powerpuff Girls, or even Dexter's Laboratory. The fact that they shut down the website, it kind of sucks, because even though it directs you over to Max so you can see some of those episodes, you're not going to see all of them like they were on the they were all lumped together on the website. So it's just another one of these cost-cutting measures that Warner Brothers and all of these streaming sites that have cable arms are really doing to save money. But this is just another call, like I've said for many years. Physical media, that's the way to go. If you can get these things on DVD, get them on DVD. That is the only way you're going to have them forever, or as long as you don't scratch the DVD, because once they're digital or once they're online, they can just come and go as they please, and then you'll never know when we'll be able to see them again. So like I said, any chance you get to get physical media, get physical media. So that's all the news. Don't forget to check the Instagram page for everything like trailers and other stories that never make it into the podcast on the weekend. I'm going to step aside for a second. When we come back, we're going to talk about Batman the Animated Series versus Batman Caped Crusader. You know, for my money, Batman the Animated Series is the best animated property that DC has ever done. And I know that is saying a lot considering how many films that they've done that are really good. But the series, the Batman animated series, was the absolute best. It's the pinnacle. It is the stick by how I measure every single thing animated that DC puts out. How good it is tonally, how good it is visually, how good the voice acting is, how good the story is. It's always butt up against Batman animated series, and I measure it from there. I mean, the damn series won 4 daytime Emmys. Don't think many other cartoons can say that. Everything about it was pitch perfect. Voice acting, how it looked with that dark deco style that they coined, with art deco and film noir elements thrown in and out, black and white and superimposed over color. It was a beautifully done series. Voice acting legends, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and so many others gave us voices that were the voices of a generation of kids who ran home to watch this show and grew up on it. It is the Batman by which I measure all Batman. Everything that Kevin Conroy did in that series is how I measure it. Are you doing 2 different voices? One for Bruce Wayne and one for Batman? Because that all comes from that series. If you are a fan of Harley Quinn, guess what? That character was created specifically for the series and was supposed to never be beyond that, but became so beloved, they actually changed the comic books just to stick her in it because the character was so awesome. They've done that with other characters from that series and thrown into the comic books. I don't think that they've ever done that with any other animated series. I don't care if it's DC or Marvel. Batman animated series has always been one of my absolute favorite things. But now we have Batman Caped Crusader. And I got to admit, I'm wondering if Batman Caped Crusader is just as good, if maybe not better, than Batman animated series. Now, it's not like this is some fly-by-night director on his first jaunt through DC trying to stake claim to the crown. This is the exact same guy who gave us Batman the Animated Series. It's Bruce Timm. But along for the ride, he's brought other hands on to make this show even better. And believe me, those are capable hands. J.J. Abrams, anybody? The man knows how to tell a story. Regardless of how you think about his movies, you can't say that the story is bad. Those stories are always good. Put those 2 together and you can do anything on anything in the world. Voice acting, really good. Villains, how the story stacks up. Everything with Batman Caped Crusader is really good. But 1-to-1, how about we compare Batman the Animated Series to Batman Caped Crusader and see who really takes the throne this go round? But before we get into comparing the 2, you got to know what Batman Caped Crusader is. Now, like I said, this is Bruce Timm returning to executive produce the same show he executive produced before after so many years of DC trying to get him to do an updated and even a follow-up to Batman the Animated Series. And he said no, time and time again. But this time he walks back into the door with not just J.J. Abrams, but another man by the name of Matt Reeves. Name sound familiar? He's the same guy who wrote and directed The Batman with Robert Pattinson. Again, returning to the theaters on August 28th, so go see it. Those 3 men, if anybody can tell a Batman story, it's those 3. So those 3 stacked up against Bruce Timm and his old crew, it would seem like the Caped Crusader series would automatically be better than Batman the Animated Series, but you just don't know. Now, watching this one, this is the same old Batman that we've always known and we've always come to love. But this time it's set directly and squarely in the 1940s. It seems more at home with the Fleischer Superman series of old, and it seems like, and you can even see it in the Batman suit with those longer pointy ears on the cowl. It looks really nice. It's the same dark deco style as Batman the Animated Series, and you can really tell those in how the buildings look and how the cars look and the clothes that the characters wear and even the weapons, the guns that they use, and even how they talk. This is definitely the 1940s, and it looks really good. But still, this is just as noir as Batman the Animated Series, and the styling cues are there. All the black and white over color and how they talk and all that stuff is exactly the same as Batman the Animated Series. And honestly, you could call this basically mixed nostalgia. It feels like a cross between those 1940s Fleischer, Superman, and those early days of Batman, but it feels also like Batman the Animated Series with a little bit of a kick in the pants and a hell of a lot more updated and adult tonally storytelling all throughout the series. Tonally, it's Batman Cape Crusader is far more adult than Batman Animated Series, but they're not that far apart, honestly, if you look at them side by side. And that's probably why Warner Brothers Discovery, oddly enough, actually told J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves and Bruce Timm that even after they convinced Bruce Timm to do the series, they shelved it. And so the three of them shopped it around, and finally it landed on Amazon of all places. And that is just another another loss for Warner Brothers Discovery, because can you imagine if this actually debuted on Max? Max would be a hit. People would be crawling over themselves to go see this and watch Max, and that would probably generate more income. So Warner Brothers Discovery, congratulations. You keep taking L's one after another. Overall, it's a series I highly recommend that everybody goes and watch. But again, how does this stack up to the Batman Animated Series, the OG one? So let's take a look. The first thing to compare is the setting and the music. Now, right off the bat, let me just tell you, this is an equal shot. Neither one is better than the other. Batman Animated Series had an awesome style tonally, and all that black and white and the color, all of it put together. Gotham with its really its gothic overtones, that art deco, that dark deco style, like I said, that they coined. It is very much the exact same thing in Batman Cape Crusader. It leans a little bit more heavy in Batman Cape Crusader, but they are pretty much exactly the same. So I don't give an edge to either side in that regard. Now we get to the real fun stuff when we start talking about voices. Now, everybody in Batman Animated Series and Batman Cape Crusader, they inhabit their characters very well. But for this one, Batman Animated Series automatically gets the edge. You had Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill doing those iconic voices, and have for so long that when anybody talks about Batman and the Joker, people automatically assume that you're talking about those two guys doing the voices. Kevin Conroy has sadly passed, and Mark Hamill has said he will not do any more Jokers for anything animated because Kevin Conroy isn't there. That he needed his friend in order to draw out the Joker within him in order to do a good job. The last time we will see those two together is in the trilogy for Crisis on Infinite Earths, which we will be reviewing sometime soon. Both of them do show up and do the voices in it. But I will give Hamish Linklater credit for this. He does a very good job of emulating Kevin Conroy by having two different voices for Bruce Wayne and Batman. You can tell that there's a separation between the two. The Batman voice does sound slightly menacing, deeper, more authoritative. The one for Bruce Wayne is very laid back. You can tell he's a playboy. Hamish Linklater obviously got that from Kevin Conroy, who is the first person to actually do that for the Batman Bruce Wayne split. Kevin Conroy was the first one to say these two guys are different, and in order for them to be different, they have to sound different, and that would help Bruce Wayne keep his secret identity from being the Batman, right? But Kevin Conroy started it. He is the king of that, and he will go down in history. So for this particular part of the battle, the OG series takes it. So now let's talk about villains. And this was an interesting battle that I come up with while I was watching both series to try to pick which one was better. This particular one, Batman Cape Crusader, does a really good job at using Clayface. They go back and use the original Clayface from the comics, Boris Karloff, who is actually a take on Boris Karloff, who is a real actor who did horror movies in Hollywood. They use Firebug instead of Firefly, and actually Firebug has an untimely death in Batman Cape Crusader, and it's a doozy how he actually dies. So if you haven't seen the series, you might want to keep a lookout for that. I also thought it was excellent how they use lesser known villains in Cape Crusader. People like Nocturna or Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is actually voiced by Kevin Smith. Not a lot of talking, but it is very much Kevin Smith, you can tell. And they actually do set up bigger villains going forward. They set up Two-Face and Catwoman and not Nocturna, but Harley Quinn, and they teased the Joker in the very last episode for next season, which has already been greenlit. But for me, I think it was kind of unfair to compare how they used the villains for one season here versus the 4 seasons for Batman the animated series. Don't get me wrong, they have done a very good job in Cape Crusader, but until we see how they use the bigger villains, because this first season was all about the minor villains that Batman encounters, and they're setting up the bigger villains going forward. So until they do that, the only thing you can do, honestly, and to be fair about it, is to call this an equal fight. So we talked about the hero and we talked about the villains. Now let's talk about the secondary characters that inhabit both of these two cartoons. So in the original series, just like this one, we have a good cast of characters like Barbara Gordon, Jim Gordon, even Renee Montoya. And I am very happy to see that this go around in Cape Crusader, they do bring in Lucius Fox, and they do make him a big deal in Bruce Wayne's life, just like they did in the later seasons of Batman the animated series. Even in this one, excuse me, we do get to see a few of the Robins. Now they aren't actually in uniform, but we get to see them as basically as kids, all grouped together in an orphanage. I don't think that we'll actually get to see Robin at any point suit up with Batman in however long this series run. But it was good that they threw them in. We got to see Carrie Kelly, Jason Todd, Stephanie Brown, and Dick Grayson. Where for me, this goes one way and only one way. This goes to Batman Cape Crusader, and for one reason only. The standouts for this one, they used in Batman animated series, but they made them a bigger deal in Batman Cape Crusader, and that were the two detectives, Flash and Bullock. Now, we know for a fact that one thing Batman has always fought was the corruption within the police department. Now, they danced around that in Batman animated series. They always told you that they were corrupt, and they always told you that they were always on Batman's radar to be taken down at some point. In this one, in Cape Crusader, Flash and Bullock are the actual faces of police corruption. And when I say that they don't hide it, they are very much straight up corrupt, and they do not tiptoe along the line. Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves made it a point to let you know the cops in Gotham are corrupt, and these two are some of the absolute worst, to the point where they actually murder somebody on screen. Yeah, when I said that this is a hell of a lot more adult than Batman the animated series, it is. These two crooked detectives actually murder somebody on the screen right out front for you to see in order to cover up some of their corruption. This part of the battle absolutely goes to Cape Crusader, because the fact that they are willing to do that now, where Batman animated series would only tiptoe around it, that gives them a point in my book. So the last part of the battle all comes down to watching the series. How do I feel watching it? Watching Batman the animated series, even then and even now, there's always this thing where I don't feel like I'm watching a cartoon. I always felt, and I still to this day feel, watching Batman animated series, that this is how comics should be revered and should be shown. You take the property, you give it an honest run, you do everything you can, you take it seriously, and when you do, the results will speak for themselves. Batman animated series never dumbed down Batman. They never dumbed down and talked down to its audience, even though we were kids and it was meant for us. It always felt like a soap opera, even though it was animated. And the funny thing is, I get that watching Cape Crusader as well. You don't watch Cape Crusader and know that you're watching a cartoon. Yes, you know it's Batman. Yes, you know it's based on a comic book. Yes, you even know it's animated, but it doesn't feel like you're watching an animated show. It feels like you're reading a comic book, or it feels like I said, you're looking at a soap opera that just happens to be all about Batman. The people over at CW may want to take a look at this, and that Gotham show that they were trying to do would not have been so bad. This, honestly, Batman Cape Crusader compares to Batman anime series in one way and one way only. It is very much equal. Now, I know that's kind of crazy saying that it's only one season versus the 4 and 5 that you had from Batman animated series. But if Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves and the rest of their crew keep up with the series going forward in the same way that they did this, and it's only 10 episodes, I can see this taking home awards in the exact same way that Batman the animated series did. And if you haven't been keeping score, that leaves us at even, basically 1-1. And I feel sorry for everybody that thought X-Men 97 was just going to run away with Best Animated Show this year. Because if you watch Batman Cape Crusader, you're going to realize it now has a very, very stiff competition. So that's my list. What did you think? Have you watched Batman animated series, the anime series, and have you watched Batman Cape Crusader? Or if you haven't, you really should, because honestly, Cape Crusader is a fantastic series. Like I said, it is very much equal to Batman animated series, even after one season. I cannot wait to see where they go with this going forward. I think it's going to be a hit show going forward. And I truly feel sorry for Warner Brothers Discovery, because every single time that they get rid of something related to Batman or the Batverse, it blows up in their face. And I honestly believe that had they released Batgirl, the movie would have done very well. And maybe, just maybe, with them losing so much money over the past few weeks, maybe they'll just release it into theaters, or maybe just toss it up on streaming, and we'll finally actually get to see it. Because remember, the film was actually done when they decided to shelve it. So that's it. Let me know in the comments how you felt about Batman animated series and Cape Crusader, if you've seen both, or let me know if you're going to watch either one of them. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for the last call. So that's it, and that's all. It's time for the last call. I want to thank each and every single one of you. I could not be doing this show if I didn't know that so many of you enjoyed me doing it, and believe me, I truly enjoyed doing it, and I truly am thankful for every single one of you that tune in every single week, and for every single episode I put up on YouTube. I don't care if it's 1, 5, 10, 100, or 1,000 of you. I truly appreciate it. And yes, I know I say that every single show, but I mean it every single time I say it. We have a weekend watch list. It's actually only 2 things this week, but it actually covers all 4 of our categories: our film and our nostalgia pick, The Sixth Sense. M. Night Shyamalan's movie Trap just came out. Like I said, we're going to talk about that one coming up on another episode. But The Sixth Sense actually turns 25 this year, oddly enough. It is a fantastic film. Most people I talk to have seen it, but if you have not, it is by far M. Night Shyamalan's best movie to me. He's done some other movies that I really do like, but I think The Sixth Sense is the absolute best one. So that's going to be our film and our nostalgia pick this week. Our animation and our series pick is going to be one and the same. Over on Amazon Prime, Tales of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, this is a new series, but it follows in the same art style as the animated film that they just did not too long ago. So I'm going to watch that this weekend as well. Doesn't look like it's very long, and I'll probably rewatch Batman Cape Crusader again, because I enjoyed it very much. But outside of that, it's time for us to go. I want you to take care of yourself this weekend. Drink your water. Stay blessed and stay hydrated. I say that all the time, and I truly mean that too. Don't do anything to harm yourself. Take care of your family and everybody around you. And don't forget, if you're feeling alone, you need somebody to talk to, pick up the phone, dial or text 988. It is always somebody there to talk to. You are never alone. I promise you that. It's time for us to go. Don't forget, take care of yourself. Have some fun this weekend, or just sit inside the house and play video games and read comic books just like I do. So for my producer, Nikki Rev, we will end this episode the same way we end every single episode. God bless. I love you, and peace. See you next time.